You know, it's been 20 years since the Cronulla riots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 20 years ago. Australians finally said they'd had enough of this.
Damn. 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 You know? Australians, all let us rejoice.
Where were you when the second riot hit the beach?
Where was I when the second riot hit the beach? Yeah, I remember exactly where I was, just taking a big fat dump.
Yeah, I was shitting as well. No, Cronulla riot, we'll have to do an episode on it. It's a really
Yes,
serious...
absolutely. It's a huge, part of Australian history, especially Australian modern history.
And something that's, not, I think kids... And I don't mean this to denigrate kids. But I don't think they know about the Cronulla riots, because I don't think anyone mentioned
Well, nobody fucking talks about it.
I don't think that's being talked about in school.
No.
In good news, however, we have a pretty important article from news.com.au.
What do we got?
I wanted to speak about. It's the depressing reason that Aussies aren't having sex, which has been revealed.
Reveal to me your revelations from this article on why Aussies aren't having sex.
Well, it's by Claudia Poposky. She says, young Australians are resorting to car hookups and bathroom encounters more than ever for one depressing reason, as the depressing reality of life impact their sex lives.
Is it about housing?
I think it's about housing. It's also, just not been edited. If you want to read that sub-headline there for me. It's what I just read to you, but you'll see that there's just, capitalization's all weird. The sentences don't work.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is terrible. Okay. Young Australians are resorting to car hookups and bathroom encounters more than ever for one depressing reason, as the depressing reality of life impact their sex lives. Yeah, this second part was clearly because there's a full stop after one depressing reason.
Yeah.
And then no capitalization, as the depressing reality of life impact their sex lives. Clearly, this is just, not... God, it just makes me fucking furious when an actual not to say that news.com is an actual publication, but when, actual publications post shit and put it up, and it's who edited this? Nobody? Less than nobody?
No,
Did you anti-edit this? Did you put typos in?
It was edited by Claudia Journo.
Shut up, Claudia.
And
fucking get a real job.
Close to half of young Australians say living with their parents has impacted their sex lives.
Yeah, no shit.
Research from Love Honey.
Oh no, Love Honey.
Let's Honey?
Research. It's a sex toy distributor.
Oh well, they've done the research.
Yeah, they do sex.
Apparently,
research.
1 in 4 Aussies have been interrupted by their parents during having sex.
That's really funny.
1
Couldn't
in
be me.
5 have had to have sex in places such as their cars or bathrooms, which
Okay, yeah, I have had sex in a car.
Yeah, I've had sex with you in a car.
Correct.
And that's what Love Honey has to say about Australians having sex.
Good to know.
It's tough.
Apparently, it's hard even.
You need a plan to be spontaneous. That's the big advice from Love Honey's person.
Plan to be That's bullshit.
Anyway, so Cronulla riots 20 years ago. Let's talk about racial discrimination.
Oh shit! Okay.
People are entitled to their sexual proclivities. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. But I ain't spending any time on it. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom. But I ain't spending any time on it.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Shouldn'ta Come. It's wonderful to have you back with us here on this extremely warm, balmy, sweaty day. We understand that there's fires all through New South Wales.
A dozen homes have been lost on the New South Wales Central Coast and more in the state's mid-north in a day of extreme fire danger.
Hope you've not been impacted by that. It's the Ashes. England has once again managed to lose the test so quickly that Australia cricket's going to lose a bunch of money because of it, and that's great.
These are immediate effect. Ollie Pope, too loose. Reckless cricket from England's number 3 pays the...
It's always great when that happens.
Yeah, it's good to know that there are real losers here.
Yeah, there are a bunch of real losers, aside from all the losers who are losers just playing cricket. Mm-hmm. But today we're going to be talking about something that's just kind of been in the news, that's bubbling up, that I'm interested to see how it falls out, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about something that's quite relevant in Australia, in the Australian legislative world especially, and that is the Racial Discrimination Act. specifically Section 18C.
Yes.
So the reason this is in the news right now, and at least has come into my news, is a case brought on by Elon Casudo, who is the current CEO of the Zionist Federation of Australia. So that's Mark Lieber's outfit.
Yeah.
Mark's son Jeremy is the current president of the ZFA.
Yeah.
Elon has been the CEO of ZFA for the last 2 years. And he's suing Mary Kostakidis, who you might remember that name because she was an SBS newsreader for a long time.
Yeah.
Mary Kostakidis, SBS News. I'll get a clip of that in there.
Good evening, Mary Kostakidis with SBS World News Australia.
And she's suing Mary Kostakidis about Gaza stuff.
Damn, okay.
In a racial discrimination case. So just some things about Elon before we go into this more. So he's described himself as 100% Israeli, 100% Australian, 100% Italian.
Come on, man. Hey, you can't be all three of those things at once. Like, even if you were a little bit of each, I don't think that's allowed.
No.
But you can't be 100% and 300%. Like, what? This is the fucking, like, I'm man, bear, pig, you know? I'm half man, half bear, half pig.
But he's like, so his Instagram is Israeli, Australian, Italian, father, cyclist.
Wow. In that order?
I guess so. It's also in the order of, like, what the worst things to be are. He claims that 95% of Jews are Zionists, especially in Australia.
I mean, is he wrong?
Yes.
Cool, good to know.
In terms of, like, any statistics, like, that's not, especially for younger people, but it's not 95. He claims to have seen his dear childhood friend killed by a suicide bombing in Israel.
Damn.
Now, I don't want to go into that too much because there'd be a lot of research, but what I found is that the person with the name that matches the name he's saying was a different age to what he said that person's age was significantly, and I don't understand how it happened. So, whatever. He was a consultant at a place called Composure, which is a firm specializing in strategy, culture, and leadership.
Great.
He recently
useless.
wrote a big article about the importance of company culture or whatever.
Yeah.
Reviewing the Harvard Business Review's article. It's actually 10 years ago, but the title of his article is "You Can't Fix Culture. Say what?" And then there's this meme on it of Rowan Atkinson, and it says
Jesus
"Say what?"
Christ.
But that was 2016. This case that we're talking about isn't going to be heard until the end of 2026, probably.
Okay.
Mainly due to the amount of evidence in the material. So it started progressing through the courts. Casudo has sued Mary Kostakidis of contravening paragraph 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act, which is a very famous piece of legislation in
Yes,
general.
absolutely. This has been debated multiple times in Parliament.
Yeah, it's a bug. Hey, buddy,
Hey, Ouch, you're all done.
you can't be in here.
Out you go, Stinky.
Get out of here.
Out you go.
We're talking about racial discrimination. It's serious stuff.
Yeah, and I'm here to talk about it.
So,
Okay.
as everyone knows, as Archie knows, the most important part of 18C is the exact wording of what 18C is, which is Section 18C of the full Act, which is this. It is unlawful for a person to... It is unlawful for that cunt to ride his bike... No. It is unlawful...
Damn, still going.
It is unlawful for a person to do an act otherwise than in private if...
A. The act is reasonably likely, in all the circumstances, to offend, insult, humiliate, or intimidate another person or a group of people, and B. The act is done because of the race, colour, or national or ethnic origin of the other person, or of some or all of the people in the group.
So it's an attempt at defining when something's racist.
Yes.
Which, like, I don't think the legal system's built for.
No.
The other two subsections of 18C are just defining what, like, private place and public place mean.
Okay, I'm
in
sure
the
we
law.
can work that out.
Because the law is funny. So here it is. An act is taken not to be done in private if it causes words, sounds, images, or writing to be communicated to the public, or is done in a public place, or is done in the sight or hearing of people who are in a public place. So I'm glad we've sorted that out.
Damn.
It's a great example of why law is a scam. 'Cause it'll be like-
Legalese is so fucking difficult.
and it's just a whole day of dealing with that. I think we all know what constitutes private and public until somebody asks.
Yeah.
And then we have to spend a day deciding if Darren's allowed to yell out, "Stupid darky cunt," while taking a shit if his toilet's right at the front of the house, and so people walking by can't see.
Yeah.
That's a fake. That's not a real thing. I was making that up.
Whether the window's open or not.
Exactly. You know, like, we don't have to... Until that happens, we don't need to worry about it. So 18C was added to the general racial discrimination Discrimination Act in 1995. The act was passed by Gough Whitlam, probably unsurprisingly, in 1975. And it was Paul Keating, the Labour government prime minister at the time, who added the 18C amendment, which is about, like, speech, specifically.
Yeah.
Both Abbott and Turnbull, while they were prime ministers, tried to get it changed pretty seriously. Morrison as well, I think, but Abbott and Turnbull had quite high-profile attempts.
Yeah.
Their main perspective they talk about is like, oh, freedom of speech, it's being curtailed.
Which is so fucking dumb.
And Abbott also specifically talks about wanting to preserve national unity. You know, don't you dare say that someone else is being racist or whatever, which get
Well,
fucked.
then tell him not to be racist. I don't know, bro.
But
Grow up.
the complaint that
Shirt front me about it.
I will shirt front fucking Tony Abbott. Who do you reckon Tony Abbott could beat in a fight?
Who do I reckon Tony Abbott could beat in a fight?
Yeah, out of all other world leaders.
Oh, out of other, like, past, present, and
Yeah.
future?
Who do you reckon he couldn't? No, like current.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that old dude in camp, like Paul Beer, I think he's losing to Tony
yeah,
Abbott.
fair enough. All right,
Yeah.
so who's a current world leader that
I think
he could beat up?
He's probably got a good chance against Trump.
I think so, and that's because he's already
Big,
quite
though.
frail.
No, but Trump's big.
He's big, and I don't think Tony is strong by any means.
No.
But I just wonder if he's got the edge just on health.
He does seem like he does. He's
Like,
always
just, like,
running.
physical
and stuff.
wellness,
He's
perhaps.
Yeah. Well, we'll shirt front Tony at some point. But the main complaint that people have is just the vagueness, and that's not a right wing complaint exclusively. That's everyone kind of being like, the act is really vague.
Yeah, like, how
and
are you
up to interpretation? So the legislation's been around for a while, and that means there's a rich history of archetypically Australian legal frivolity. But there's a big weird spike in cases around 2000, and we're going to play a bit of a game.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a conveniently vague description of the case, and you're going to guess if it was a successful case or not. So,
Okay.
in short, did the Australian legal system decide that the defendant was racist, or did they dismiss the case?
Okay, I'm really
Right? So,
excited.
dismissed or racist. I'll
All
start
right.
with an easy one. It's a
Got it.
case against Senator Ross Lightfoot. The now thankfully dead Ross is famous for having tried to ally the Liberal Party with One Nation, being a white Zimbabwean farmer rights guy, telling Bob Brown and his friend to, quote, fuck off and die. In
Mr.
Parliament.
Speaker, I'm going to ask that the member for wherever the fuck he's from would fuck off and die.
It was because Bob Brown was, like, George Bush was visiting, and Bob Brown heckles George Bush. And Ross is like, fuck off and die.
How dare you do that to George, my best friend?
He's also known for smuggling $20,000 into Kurdistan on behalf of Woodside Petroleum.
What?
And for being too racist for John Howard one time.
That's a crazy choice.
John Howard had to be like, Ross, mate,
That's
you
not
can't-
alright, actually.
That's not on, actually.
Look, mate, you can say a lot about him,
You
and
can
I
say
do,
a lot.
but that's a bit much.
So the specific case was brought against him by Hannah McGlade, an Indigenous woman. And it centered around comments he made about Indigenous Australians in which he used words like primitive and abhorrent, and you kind of know the shit that these guys
Yeah.
are on. Just like fuck shit like that.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Do you reckon that it was called racist, that he was like, you know, Indigenous Australians had the most primitive culture and they were violent, eating I think he was like they're eating babies guy.
Jesus Christ. Knowing... Okay, is what he said racist? Yes, absolutely, undoubtedly. Everyone knows that. Did he get, like, done for it? Fucking probably not. Like, this is Australia. Don't be silly.
You're absolutely right. That case was dismissed.
There we
I'm
go.
being a little bit cute here. Because the case was dismissed because Ross made an apology between the complaint and the court case.
Wow.
So the judge was like, well, he's apologized. So it seems like
So it's all right
So it's
then.
all done. But there was an appeal, and in the review, he was found to have contravened the law.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
this case eventually was actually taken.
I'm surprised it actually managed
But
to
it was
be,
dismissed
like...
in the first instance.
That's so funny.
All right. Number 2.
Yes.
A 1999 case brought against the comedian Louis Beers, also known as King Billy Coke Bottle, a Dutchman who performed in blackface. He brought a fun Australian
my
spin to the tradition of
God.
Swarthy Pete or whatever. He dressed like, you know, he dressed as a really racist caricature of an
That's-
Aboriginal man doing his little minstrel show. Yeah, the judge in the case describes it as, in many ways, a grotesque caricature. And the case has been brought by an Aboriginal elder, John Kelly Country, who saw his act in person. The picture on the right is Louis Beers, the out of blackface. Picture on the left is him while he was performing as King Billy Coke Bottle. What are you seeing there?
That's fully cunted. That's so fucked.
It's really bad, huh?
That's so fucked. For starters, he, out of blackface, which I'm sure he's disappointed to be, he looks like when you, like, have a sausage that's too fat and you're worried it's going to split.
Oh,
like, he's
like,
got
he does
skin
look
that looks
like
like it's going to, like, he's going to burst from his own skin.
Buddy, you gotta get out of here. We're talking about Louis Beers and his skin that's gonna... He's also dead now, so you can say whatever you want about him.
I was going to anyway, whether he was alive or not. He, like, this is a disgusting man, truly. He's got, like, racist face, very much so, in
He
that
does
it's,
have
like, you know,
racist
quite
face.
red.
Yeah, just that redness that, like, the Dutch
Belies
and...
a life of alcoholism and being in an environment you're not meant to be in.
Yeah, and being an environmental toxin.
Yeah, and, like, his blackface getup is fucked, truly. Like,
It's really bad.
I don't even know what to say, to be honest.
Well, do you reckon the case was dismissed or was it ruled as racist?
What year was this?
2099.
This was not ruled as racist.
You're correct, it was dismissed.
That's so fucking sickening.
Lewis got the artistic work exemption. The judge...
The what?
The exemption for artistic works. You don't know about the artistic works exemption to the Racial Discrimination Act?
No.
So, the judge took into account that John Kelly Country, the elder who heard the act, when he first heard King Billy Kirkbottle on the radio, he thought that Billy was an Aboriginal person, and he was like, well, this is funny. And then he found out that it wasn't an Aboriginal person, and then he was upset. And the judge is like, see? And that shows, like, it's pretty convincing. So that means while it's racial, it's not racist. I thought...
That is such a fascinating defense.
Do you want to see what the judge said?
Yeah.
You ready to read it out?
Yeah. It is Mr. Beer's evidence, which I accept, that the character of King Billy Cokebottle was created because of his personal ability to mimic Aboriginal people and their mode and idiom of speech. This gift for mimicry led to his radio career and later to a stage act. Because he was performing live, Mr. Beers felt the need to maintain the illusion that he was an Aboriginal person in his act. It is Mr. Beers' position that once he had created his comedic alter ego, it was necessary for him to produce material for the character. Much of the material is the standard patter of a blue stand-up comedian. Essentially, I accept that the jokes followed the character of King Billy Cokebottle, rather than that King Billy Cokebottle was created as a device to tell jokes.
He just had to do it. He's like, well, oh, listen, mate, what happened was...
he'd already thought of the funny idea. You're going to tell him to stop.
He's like, oh, because it's just a series of events. It's all a misunderstanding. So I'm really good at imitating people. And so I had to create a whole character of an Aboriginal person because I'm good at imitating them. And once I created that character, I absolutely had to create a live version of that character. And once I created the alter ego, once I made the live version, I had to keep making material for that character.
That's so fucking stupid. That's so fucking stupid. That's so fucking stupid.
Oh.
That's so fucking stupid.
It's really
You know, this
stupid.
is why Hank Azaria dyes himself yellow or whatever.
This is
like-
why Hank Azaria has died.
Is Hank Azaria dead?
R.I.P. It's probably important for us to briefly touch on the exemptions, the artistic exemptions.
Yeah,
and
what the
such.
fuck is an artistic exemption to
So
this?
that's
Like, so
section-
what? I could just draw a picture that's, like, racially insensitive, and then... But then it said pictures weren't, like... But I
So-
did it because I'm an art... Do I have to wear, like, paint-splattered overalls when I show it to people?
That
like,
would, I think, probably impact your case.
Seriously?
Probably.
What the fuck?
A lot of things impact
What the
these
fuck
cases.
is going on?
So, along with 18C is 18D, right?
Oh,
which is the
good. Yes,
paragraph
great.
after.
Yes.
We've spoken about Australian exemptionalism, and here is a great example
Oh,
of that.
God.
18D gives 3 exemptions to the 18C law.
Okay.
A, if the act in question is art. B, if it is of genuine academic, artistic, or scientific purpose or in the public interest. And C, if it's a fair and accurate report of any matter in the public interest. Or a fair comment on any event or matter of public interest if the comment is an expression of a genuine belief held by the person making the comment. So it's...
So what? If you believe it, you can say it.
That is what that perhaps implies, yes.
That doesn't... That...
Also, if it's art, you can do it. And if it's science,
Oh, and
you
if
can
it's
do
science,
it.
you can do it. And if it's like a commentary, you can do it.
If it's a commentary,
Like,
you can
this
do it
is
as
fair
long as you
use
actually believe
racism.
it. Yeah,
This is
as long as
fair
you're not
use.
being a liar about being racist.
Yeah, but you have to really believe that shit. You have to be about that shit.
So, talking about
Ouchie
being
back.
about that shit, it can be hard sometimes. The next case, so again heard in 2000, centers around a sports ground in Toowoomba. So this one is not actually going to come up against those exemptions. I should have probably ordered the episode differently, but we're here now.
Doesn't matter. I'm ready.
It's again a 2000 case, and it's centered around a sports ground in Toowoomba. So a stand in the ground had been named after a local hero, Edwin Stanley Brown.
Okay.
So that's Edwin. Hey, Edwin, just kind of looks normal.
Yeah.
Just picture a dude,
You know,
white dude.
he just looks like, I guess, a rugby player.
Yes, and he is. He is Toowoomba's first National Rugby League representative.
Okay.
And he was a city alderman after his playing career. A beloved figure locally for his athletic and community contributions to Toowoomba society and culture.
Okay.
So the town decided to dedicate some seats to him, and they put his name and nickname up on it to honor him. You know, you'll go to a cricket ground, it'll be like the Donald Bradman stand, the Alan Border stand, right? And so they've put these seats up, and they've dedicated it to his honor, and they've put, you know, his full name and nickname on there.
His full name and
here you
nickname.
can see.
My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my...
Oh, wow. That's probably the reaction I expected, yeah. This is probably one of the worst ones we've ever seen. It's unbelievable.
Fuck.
Like, I can't,
Holy
I'm not
fuck.
saying it.
No, neither of us can. But what I can tell you is that the stand, it has ES for Edwin Stanley, and then his nickname in brackets, and then his surname Brown, and then the word stand afterwards.
Like
So
ES,
ES,
nickname.
word, Brown, stand. Now, the word is a word that Yanni and I cannot say.
We're not saying it
This
on-
is a
on the
no-no
pod.
word. This is, but it does rhyme with ginger.
No, it doesn't.
Does it not?
Not really.
No, I guess not.
How do you, how are you,
It
how
rhymes
have you been
with-
saying it?
Well, I wouldn't know. I've never said it.
Hey, that's good, yeah. It's the N-word, everybody, folks. It's
Yeah,
the
it is the N-word. That's
his nickname.
That's fucked. ES N-word Brown stand.
Yes.
That's fucked. You can't do that.
That was his nickname.
You can't fucking. When is this? When did when did this happen?
He's from, like, the 1900s.
But when did this happen?
The case?
Like the stand.
It was up there until a few years ago. But this
Bruh.
case was in 2000.
Bruh.
So he was known... Before we go into it, do you want to know or do you want to guess? Do you want to know more about the case before you guess? Or do you want to guess?
What is there to know?
Do you...
There's
Okay.
a fucking racial slur.
Do you reckon they
plastered
dismissed it?
on a sports
Do you
stand.
reckon they dismissed it? Or do you reckon that they were decided this was racist?
They have to have said this was racist.
They have to, right?
They have.
They
Don't
absolutely
fuck-
have to have said this
I'm
was racist.
So scared.
They dismissed it.
Oh, Yanni. Yanni.
The judge's reasoning was, so they had to go into why E.S. Brown was known by this nickname. And they came down to one of two reasons. Neither of them are because he's black or something like that. He's not. That's not, like, he's just an Anglo-Saxon guy. One of them is like, oh, it's an ironic Australian nickname because of how white he is. So they're calling him the N-word. And in court, the judge is like, for instance, a bald man might be called curly because he has to put this all in court to make sure everyone understands what's going on here.
What the fuck?
So they're like, yeah, he was so white, we called him N-word. And the other, like, idea is that it's because he used a boot polish, and the shade of that boot polish was N-word brown.
What?
It was a Kiwi boot polish, and that was the shade. And everyone was like, wow, you're such a snappy dresser, and your boots are always so shiny. What's that color?
What's your secret?
And he's like, oh, I just use N-word polish. And they're like, oh, we're just going to call you that. This also, plus the fact that the defense called up Indigenous people from Toowoomba who testified, like, well, the sign doesn't offend me, was enough for the judge to dismiss the case. The sign has been removed now. Like, basically, when they were rebuilding it, they didn't put it back up, is how they did it. But, yeah, their complaint is basically like, I went to the ground and there was something that was happening there, right? So, like, an official event. So the PA kept being like, everyone go to the ES N-word Brown, Stan. And he's like, after a while, I stopped wanting to go to the footy because I just kept hearing the N-word.
Wait, people was just like saying it?
Yeah. People would just be like, go to the ES.
N-word stand.
Yeah. There's a whole history of what the N-word is in the Australian legal case about this. And, you know...
I'm just like, I have to, like, disassociate for a moment. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I was stunned to learn
What
about...
the fuck are you talking about?
ES Brown.
I can't believe that.
Isn't that terrible?
I cannot believe that.
It's really bad. I think like 2012, 2016 is when they like got rid of it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
So
That's fucked.
what do you think about Edwin? He's probably fine.
Nothing fucking good.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, oh hey, I'm Edwin, and this is my nickname, and I have no problem with it, and it's totally chill and cool. I don't care you're from the 1900s.
That's one of the things the judge said was like, well, everyone seemed to have known him as that name. That's what people called him. No one called him Ed. It would be like, oh, it's N-word Brown. Everyone in town's like, yeah, that's what we knew him as.
Everyone who was born in this country should just be like put into a stew. Just like boiled alive.
That is the thesis of our podcast. So the vagueness of the 18C Act is one of the many things that contributes to how hard it is even to get one of these cases heard, like let alone winning the case, even getting it to court. Because the judge will often be like, this is not going to win. I'm not going to let it go to court.
Yeah.
A very old number from the Human Rights Commission is less than 3% of racial hatred complaints proceed to court. We'll go back to 1997. Where Pauline Hanson has had to stare down 6 18C complaints in her first year of being a politician.
Yeah, because she just is a fucking loose unit, just saying shit all the time.
This specific...
And doing shit.
Well, this is about some of the shit that she'd said and did. It's comments she made in an interview in which she was spruiking her Indigenous welfare reform platform, in which she accuses Indigenous people of being welfare frauds or something.
Classic.
The section that got her in the most trouble was this one. Now, this is a dialogue. I'm going to be Pauline if you can be the interviewer.
Okay, sure.
I said now that I'm fighting for the white person for the same rights that Aboriginal people get.
So, what rights are they?
Oh, well, you see, they have benefits that are only available to them because they're Aboriginal, and I don't believe this is fair.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Let's make it equal right across the board.
So you're fighting for the white people of Oxley?
I think it's going to go wider than just the people of Oxley. I can't say yes, I'm only fighting for the people of Oxley.
So you're fighting for the white community in general?
Yeah, look, the white community, the immigrants, the Italians, Greeks, whoever, it really doesn't matter. You know, anyone apart from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. You know, I just want everyone to be equal, and I think we could get rid of this. I think there's a racial discrimination out in the community, and we might start to get on to work together as one. Anyway, Karen, what do you think? Racist or not racist?
Racist.
Not dismissed. Dismissed, not racist.
That's fucked. That's fucked.
The essential exception here is that the judge viewed Pauline's comments as advocating for white people as opposed to against Indigenous people. And that's why it's not racist. In 2000, her book, Pauline Hanson, The Truth, was brought before the court due to its claims that Aboriginal savages eat babies.
What the fuck?
This case was dismissed because the book was published anonymously, although the copyright was held by Pauline Hanson. Everyone knew it was by Pauline Hanson, but legally it was published anonymously.
What do you mean?
I couldn't really get my head around it, because the book seems to be called Pauline Hanson, The Truth.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it's by Pauline Hanson, but legally it's not. And so she couldn't... This is, I think you might have heard recently that a Pauline Hanson sci-fi book, like, re-emerged, that she'd written a long time ago.
No.
Oh, it's re-emerged, so you should have a read of it. Someone's found the book, and it's, like, set in 2067 or something like that. And, like, it's like Pauline Hanson's sci-fi book. Anyway, so a lot's changed since 2000.
I'm reeling. I'm being sent into the stratosphere.
It's been a big couple of weeks.
What's going on?
The 18C Racial Discrimination Act, which Pauline actually got by it recently. She said that Marine Faruqi should piss off back to Pakistan.
I remember this.
Yes, and she actually got in the end.
Yeah.
Her legal defense now is just like 18C and 18D aren't valid.
She's like, I don't care about those rules.
Yeah,
Leave me alone.
That's her defense now. In the interest of fairness, there have been a handful of other 18C cases that were upheld. It's really like a handful, like I said, less than 3%. But in general, it seems to be cases where somebody is caught using a slur, A slur. Using a slur explicitly racistly against another person who is explicitly from that race. Some of the examples were like black bastard or ching chong to like the big ones, obviously, like Edwin Brown.
Jesus
like
Christ.
that word.
Yeah.
And also there's enough witnesses or video evidence. And usually the person's like made to pay court fees and like a speeding ticket-ish fee to the other person. But an interesting case that will, kind of end this section focusing on, which was heard in 2000 as well, was by the Australian Macedonian Human Rights Committee Incorporated versus the state of Victoria. The alleged contravention of the Racial Discrimination Act was this directive from the Victorian Premier to all ministers.
Further to the federal government's decision to use the term Slav Macedonians, and in order to be consistent and avoid any further confusion, I now request all Victorian government departments and agencies to refer for the time being to the language that is spoken by people living in the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, or originating from it as Macedonian Slavonic. How members of the respective communities choose to describe themselves, and in particular how they choose to describe their ethnicity and language, will continue to remain up to those individuals and communities themselves.
So this was taken to court, and there's a lot that we're not going to be able to get into here because it's about Greece and Macedonia and history. We will get to it at some point. We have an Australian Greeks episode planned.
Yeah.
But this case is kind of similar to the Zionist Federation of Australia case in that what was heard and what's going to be heard in this case is like evidence for the existence of the culture, if that culture can take offense to what the statement is, like what that offense is based on the evidence given by like years, hundreds of years of history. It's a case that's really about a cultural battle taking place in a different context, being heard through the prism of the Australian court system.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Because this case in Australia is one battle within the larger Macedonian naming dispute war, which is a whole thing, which is why the country of Macedonia is legally called North Macedonia.
Right, that's right, because there is a Macedonia as an area in Greece.
It's a state in Greece, yeah. I have a background theory going that's been gaining steam for decades, that something like a third to half of all disputes between people are just disagreements on the definition of a word.
Fair.
And I think this is an example of that. Here's Wikipedia on where this dispute started.
Okay. The dispute arose from the ambiguity in nomenclature between the Republic of Macedonia, the adjacent Greek region of Macedonia, and the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. Damn.
Yeah.
And they're all just kind of like in the same fucking area.
Yeah, because it's an area of the world that people have been in this whole time. A lot's happened.
And it's just been called Macedonia.
And yeah, because...
And then different people have claimed ownership over it, and then, all this shit.
Exactly. So when, this kind of discussion comes up against a law that allows for significant interpretation, there's a lot that can be heard as evidence, right? Because the parties have to establish, well, there's this group of people and there's that group of people, and the act that's in question is offensive to this group of people or humiliating or intimidatory. And the reason that the person has done it is because of that group, who that person is from, and how they're defined among racial, national, ethnic, or colored lines. And so you're opening the floor for either team of lawyers to tell a grand sweeping narrative about whatever they think is important about the case, specifically relating to what terms like, descent or enjoyment or national or ethnic origin mean.
Yeah.
So again, looking specifically at the Australian Macedonian case, the evidence that was presented in the Australian court included a sociologist talking about the development and understanding of ancient Macedonian and the borders of ancient Macedonia, the Greek manager of a radio station describing his perspective of the use of the word Macedonian by people living in or coming from the former Yugoslav Fyrom. They call it Fyrom, which was the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. Also presenting evidence in this Australian case was a Slavonic linguist who gives evidence about the possibility of confusion between ancient Macedonian, modern Macedonian, and Greek Macedonian. And finally, we also had an ethnically Macedonian fitter and welder talking about admitting his wife to the hospital, asking for an interpreter, and in the language drop-down, the option that he was given was Macedonian /Slavonic, and he says that caused him anger and upset and hurt his feelings. So all of that's evidence in this case, because of what the case is trying to rule, about whether it's racist to refer to Macedonian as it's spoken by people in the country of Macedonia as Macedonian /Slavonic. And then you're going, there's in the evidence is well, in these contexts, even though Slavic isn't by itself a slur or anything like that, in the context it's being used, it has been previously used in an insulting term, right?
Jesus Christ, that's so fucking deep.
Yeah,
That is
it's
such
not...
That's what?
The court system's not really built for this.
No.
At all. And we're going to probably speak about that case more in the Greek Australians episode we've got coming. But...
That's actually... I'm really, really fascinated by that. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a... Buddy, relax.
All done.
But, stay tuned. Just keep in mind how ill-equipped, let's say, the vagaries of the legal system are for the task of defining civilization and culture. And let's get back to the present. So, Elon Kasuto, the Zionist Federation of Australia's CEO, has sued Mary Kostakidis. Mary is a longtime journalist and used to read the news on SBS, and for what it's worth, she continues the unexpected Greek flavor to this episode. It just hit me how many times I must have seen her read the news growing up, because we did have SBS on often enough.
Yeah.
The case centers around 61 of her tweets regarding the Gaza genocide.
61?
61, it's been a couple of years.
Fair enough.
One every couple of weeks, really. And a lot of them are things that I forget aren't commonly known facts, but also in general, they're usually just like retweets of articles with quotes from people in the article.
Yeah.
She's not doing much opinion
She's
writing.
not inventing this stuff.
Exactly. And there's a story, for instance, about the Israeli government planting stories of non-existent atrocities. You'll know from our earlier episode that the UN has the same opinion, that the Israeli government planted stories of the atrocities. The tweets that seem to be in the most contention legally include quotes and comments from Hassan Nasrallah, which Mary tweeted because, as a reporter, it makes sense to report on what the then leader of Hezbollah says, given Hezbollah is involved in the war.
Yeah.
Until he was assassinated by Israel in 2024, Hassan was one of the most politically pivotal leaders in the fight against Israel. So, obviously, even throwing out the context of Israel, it makes total sense to report on what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that's, just me paraphrasing what Mary's legal team have said.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, she's a reporter, she's reporting.
Exactly. The reporting of statements by a well-known spokesperson for a part in a major regional conflict is an essential part of news reporting. Elon's legal team, on the other hand, gave us this stupid fucking drivel.
All right. While to criticize Israel or the Israeli government is not necessarily anti-Semitic, criticism could sometimes still amount to anti-Semitism. There is the potential for an act or a statement to be both a criticism of Israel and anti-Semitic. Where that line is drawn in relation to a particular statement or a particular act is a difficult and important question, which would be determined following consideration of evidence.
So it's just that same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I obviously don't think they have a case, but it's the same fucking thing all over again, right? Because the tweets, they include Mary Kostakidis quoting Hassan Nasrallah saying things like, the Israeli government is getting some of its own medicine, and if you want to be safe and secure in Israel and you have a US passport, go back to the US. If you have a British passport, go back to the UK. From the river to the sea, Palestine is for the Palestinian people only. Right? So that's going to court here. And Mary's right to retweet that's going to court here. And as per Michael West Media and The Guardian's reporting on this case, some of the claims that the judge is going to have to decide on based on the submissions made by the defense or whatever are whether Hamas or Israel really want the other obliterated, to what degree Hezbollah is a terrorist organization or resistance movement, whether Zionism is a political philosophy, an ideology, or race and ethnic group, whether the reports of Hamas ultraviolence on October 7 are true, the extent to which the Israeli army under the Hannibal Directive killed many of its own soldiers on October 7, whether or not most Australian Jewish people are or aren't Zionists, if Elon Kasuto's reaction of offense was, quote, extreme or atypical and should have been disregarded, if the attacks on synagogues in Australia were anti-Semitic, and, according to Michael West Media, Jeffrey Epstein's connections to the Israeli government. And also if a retweet counts as an endorsement. That's something that the judge said during proceedings. That's a quote. He's like, we're going to be analyzing whether retweets count as endorsements, like people say on Twitter. But based on what's being filed, they're going to have to be presenting in an Australian court the evidence about Jeffrey Epstein's connections to the Israeli government to determine what right people have to comment on that.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Elon's had to submit the case a couple of times after the judge kept asking him to, fix bits of it. Because they keep fucking it up.
This fucking judge is probably just like, Christ, man, I don't want to get involved in the Epstein stuff. Are you being so fucking for real right now?
Well, it's, it sounds like the judge. Some people are like the judge is being ridiculous and should have just been dismissing the case instead of asking them to resubmit it. But the judge is saying like the law is that I ask him to resubmit it. Mary's side has asked the judge to throw it out, but obviously he's not doing that. And the case, might not go ahead in the end. Mary's made a fair few pretty heated comments about it. Like, she at one point was like, the way that his case is worded, a Jewish person living in Sweden could take offense to criticism of Israel because they're Jewish or whatever. Like, just stuff like it's really broad what he's saying. There's a similar case going on against some Sydney Uni academics, John Keane and Nick Reamer, by a different Sydney Uni academic, Joseph Tolles. Joseph, who studies Israeli music or whatever, claimed that John and Nick's criticism of Israel and Zionism constitute an 18C complaint against Jewish people generally. This case seems to be going on, though a few outlets pointed out that the Zionist lobbies tend to have deeper pockets than, Palestinian academics or Palestinian supporting academics. And so with how these cases work, it is just a matter of, can you keep affording the appeals, take it up to federal, take it up to Supreme, can you keep getting the right lawyers?
Yeah.
But that's, kind of what I had to chat about. So both those cases are in progress. Elon, who, we have a picture of him here, he's an evil looking guy.
Yeah, he's got stupid eyebrows.
He does have the eyebrows. But yeah, he's an evil-looking guy. He's obviously, like, we're talking about the Zionist Federation of Australia, so they have a particular perspective. None of the articles I read about it from, reasonable press seem to think that Elon has much of a claim here, especially given how few 18C cases really proceed. And there's the case with Pauline Hanson recently. I think important context is that she had been taken up to court for that so many times that I imagine the defense of like, I didn't mean it stops working.
Or stops meaning anything when they look back and be like, well, actually, you've gone to court like 8 times for this.
Exactly. And then
I think you probably mean it at this point.
I've forgotten the fella's name. Alex Jones, is that right?
Alex Jones.
That's the American one, isn't it? Alan Jones?
Alan Jones.
Yeah, he's Australian. Yeah, so he got 18C'd at one point. I think it was for some comments he made again about like light-skinned Indigenous people being fake Indigenous, but he actually got 18C'd, and that was the impetus behind I think Tony Abbott's push to have it removed. But we'll see what happens. Archie's like really bugging. I don't know what he needs, but should we wrap up a little quick episode?
I suppose so.
I don't really have like anything else other than this is going on, and 18C is a really kind of weird law.
It is, and I know that it's something that's constantly being looked at because this country can't admit how racist it is.
This country can't admit how racist it is, but then someone will try to make a rule that allows you to check. But they give people as much room as possible to have not been racist in the racist country.
Yes.
Anyway, let's just tie it off there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go deal with our son.
We got to go deal with our hairy son.
But we'll be back next week with a, probably more scripted episode.
I think so.
I hope you enjoyed a little chat here and some kind of freaky things we learned about. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, where hopefully we will be going back to regular episodes there, patreon.com/shouldntacome, SHOULDNTACOME. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/@shouldntacome. And if you want to email us, shouldntacome@gmail.com. We love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll probably be back one more time before the end of the year, and we'll see you then.
Love yous.
Bye.
Bye.